Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is July 29, 2024, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, the Dow Jones roars right back over 600 points. But first, no major economic events scheduled for today. So looking at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the Canadian dollar on its resistance-ish level, the other major pairs pretty much unchanged. And as we shift over to the indices, the Dow Jones, as mentioned, did gain big. NASDAQ also gaining and bouncing. Now looking at commodities, gold extends that rally and it's on that trend line. And as we look at oil, pretty much unchanged on its supportish level. Now looking at the stocks, 3M, which is a major company in the United States, has a big gap up and go. We're going to take a look at that. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin gains as well. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go. First with the Canadian dollar. Now it's on its major multi-level resistance level on a daily chart. That's really important because it's usually at these points that we recover and we'll retrace. With that in mind, on Wednesday, we have a big FOMC rate decision from the United States and also from Japan. So that may have some effect on it. Now looking at a multi-time level, this is a weekly chart. You can see we've hit this area quite before. So this is really a very important area that if we don't break out higher, we're going to make a correction on the downside. Now, however, keep this in mind, there is more of a chance that we will break out on the upside because of two things. Number one, if you look, we've been oscillating, okay, closer to this resistance-ish level for a longer period of time. I'm talking about the last, I'd say since April, okay? Since the beginning of April, maybe even as early as beginning of March, we've been on this upper range, okay? And we haven't broken it out, okay? We briefly took a little bit of a spike on it initially, and then we just hung out here. So there's more, how should I say, momentum on the upside, okay? There's more support here to break it out higher. So keep this in mind because if it does break out, it's a major deal. Now looking at the Japanese yen, big correction we had last week, okay, where we corrected over the past 2 weeks, okay, and that is huge. Now we're looking like we're kind of bottoming out here for now, okay, but this is still a decent play. You could see it on the RSI. It's below the RSI level, and that's usually an oversold level. So keep that in mind here as we look at the Japanese yen. Now shifting over to commodities, gold. Now I want you to take a look at this. I don't know if you could see this so well, all right, but we do have a downwards trend line, and we're just hitting that trend line right now, okay? So this may be a point of resistance at this 2391-ish level, okay? If it doesn't break out higher, it may continue breaking out lower, okay? We've had the A and we've had the B. Now we need one more move, which would give us an Elliott wave, okay, on the downside. Now jumping into crude oil, not doing much, all right? Just hanging out in here at support of $77 a barrel. Really very choppy market. Now shifting over to the U.S. markets, let's take a look at it. This is the Dow Jones, okay? And though it's not labeled, the Dow Jones needs to be labeled 40,967, over 600 points and move to the upside. Now we're only about 600 points away from our all-time record highs. I'm going to take a look at a couple of stocks that really just pushed us even higher last week. Okay, let's take a look at that 3M, which was a big move on the upside. Now 3M is a major company, obviously, in the United States. It's a company that does lots of different aspects of the market, but it's one of those bellwethers that is a standalone, meaning there's not much that trades with it, but it's really that pivotal. Okay, here it is. 3M had this massive gap up. Okay, it's $100 stock, so if we're to go to $127 stock, that's huge. That's really a big deal for it. If we look at a weekly chart, it breaks that downwards momentum from where it came down from $200 down to $100. Okay, a very strong company, you know, something that always comes back because of its strength and because of its vitalness. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look at a 4-hour chart. We had the gap up, we went and we closed on our highs. Okay, so one or two things could happen here. Okay, we may see it fade, okay, or we may see it even go even higher. So that's something to consider later today. Now, these type of stocks, I got to emphasize a couple of things. They are bellwethers. They are really important companies in the United States, and they make a very big difference, okay, when they get very, 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 very strong, okay? So that's something to consider, as this has made a big, big, big turnaround, okay, for the industry. Now, jumping into the other major companies, okay, let's take a look at it. Intel had a horrible week last week, okay, on the downside, okay, going from $34 to $31. That's significant, almost 10% retracement for Intel. However, it is on supportish levels, so keep that in mind. Now, looking at Tesla. Tesla also had a gap down last week, okay, but it consolidated. So we may see a push on the upside today or later this week. Now, looking at the JP Morgan, close to its highs. And this is going to be a go-to for Wednesday. We may see just choppiness on the next couple of days until we reach there. Okay, that's something to consider, as something would still unfold with there. Now, looking at Bitcoin, this is where it gets really super interesting. Very strong here, only 2,000 points away from our highs. We did consolidate, we broke out higher, we used it as support level, okay, and bounced even higher to 69K. And we're just shy of our all-time record high. So this may still have some upside potential there as this corrects itself. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.